Om Sarvadharmasthapakas Sarvadharmaswarupakah Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. We are studying the second part of Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master called Sadhak Bhav, and we are today to read the 21st chapter. In the 20th chapter, we saw the glorious incident of the Shodashi Puja from both sides, from the mothers and from Thakurs. And now, this is called in Bengali, Sadhak Bhaver Shesh Katha. Literally, it would become the remaining things of the Sadhak Bhav. Sadhak Bhav is still going on. So, some remaining things about that will have to be told. In English, they have translated it as epilogue to the story of the master's sadhana. Epilogue actually means after this, to connect within something, that epilogue is there. So, though not very wrong, but some things about sadhak bhava yet to be told. So, that is the chapter. The master's desire for sadhana came to an end with the worship of Shodashi. So now something more will be told, but his desire for sadhana is over. Because what will he do now? He has offered himself his sadhana, the fruits of his sadhana. That is one point. His rosary. The second point is that his own wife, wedded wife, and he has worshipped as the ultimate goddess. So what more could be done? So from that, his desire for sadhana is over now. Some other sadhanas may happen in his life, but not by his desire. The master's vow of sadhana was completed with the worship of Shodashi, the holy fire of passion for God inebriation, which was burning constantly in his heart, keeping him restless for 12 long years and engaging him in practices in various moods without allowing him any rest even after a mood was over. So, mood was over, another, mood was over, another, no rest. Received now the Purnahuti. In the Havana, the last is called Purnahuti, the completing oblation, and ceased to burn. And what else could it do? For was there now anything left which he might call his own? So with what will he do sadhana? He has offered himself, and which he had not already offered as oblation to it, to that desire for sadhana, fire of sadhana. He had long ago sacrificed to it all the desirable things of the world. So that is over during the very beginning of sadhana. Wealth, wealth, honor, name, fame, etc. He had offered as an oblation to the terrible flames of sadhana. One after another, his heart, vital forces, mind, intellect, memory, egoism, etc. That is during the Vedanta sadhana. The only thing that had still been there was the desire to see the mother of the universe in various relations and forms by traveling along different paths of discipline. So that was the desire. Let us feel the importance of it. We'll go through a story told by Thakur himself. Thakur says there is a man who colors clothes and he has a tub of some color in front of him. Now different people are coming with their white clothes. Somebody says, please dye my cloth yellow. He dips in the same tub and gives him yellow. Somebody wants green, blue, red, and he dips in the same tub and gives them according to their desire. Young man is sitting near him with his cloth under his armpit. He is not telling anything. So this color man asks him, what color you want? And that youth says, I want the color of your tub, which is there in your tub. We at once jump and appreciate because everybody wanted God experience in the way their mind was working. And this man has no particularization, so he wants the nature of God as he is. But what about the color man? Wanting only the nature is all right from one point of view. But what about this color man? What is his attitude? His attitude is, I will experience God in as many ways as God can be experienced. That is the main difference. That is Sri Ramakrishna. That made the harmony of religions. And that made all his disciples like that in the end. So he's called Acharyana Mahacharya. So this is special about Sri Ramakrishna, a unique feature. And that's why after completing his sadhana, he did not stop. He had another. So now, this was his desire. What? So to see the mother of the universe in various relations, so different relations, bhava, and forms, and her forms. Vishnu is her form, Shiva is her form, Krishna is her form, Rama is her form. So that was the desire. Various forms and relations in as many ways as she appears. By traveling along different paths of discipline. That desire also by now offered to the fire, to the last particle, so to say, what therefore could it do but subside that fire that he himself has offered himself, that is love. Now, for what was left for him to do after finishing the sadhanas according to all faiths, knowing the eagerness of the master's heart, the Divine Mother he saw had bestowed on him first the blessing of her vision and afterwards brought him into contact with persons of extraordinary noble qualities with whose help he could tread along various simpler paths, thus giving him the opportunity of comparing his first vision of hers with the ultimate results of all the sadhanas. So what? First vision of hers ended in Nirvikala Samadhi. All sadhanas ended in Nirvikala Samadhi. So what could he ask of her now? He also, this described for the sake of ordinary Bengalis to begin with and for all the ordinary sadhakas That means the language is used as dualism, as if he is there and his mother is doing everything. The cosmic will is working through him, that's the meaning. And we have seen repeatedly that what he is the same as his mother, his real nature. So this language has been adopted so that it can be easily comprehensible by the ordinary sadhak. Otherwise, they will get, oh, I don't want Advaita, and so many things will happen. So there also he saw that Holy Mother, Divine Mother wanted him to do Advaita sadhana, so he did. So from every point of view, Swami Saradananda has tried to satisfy all beings and brought them to the ultimate Advaita. He also saw that the practices prescribed in the 64 tantras had all been practiced by him one after another, and that all the disciplines connected with the 5 moods of Vaishnava faith prevalent in India had been gone through by him according to scriptural methods, that following the eternal Vedic path and being initiated in sannyas, he had the vision of the formless and attributeless Divine Mother, and that by her inscrutable play, he had the sure result of the practices according to Islam, that also we have seen, which had sprung into existence outside India. So, what could he now ask the Divine Mother to show or tell him? So, some questions may rise here that he will reply. He attained perfection in a marvelous way according to the religion founded by Lord Jesus. So outside India, Islam. So outside India, there is other religion also, Christianity. And did he do sadhana for that? How did he attain perfection in that? These are the questions arising in our mind. And so the reply comes, he did not do sadhana, but something happened like sadhana and he realized. So that is the remaining things about the sadhak bhav, that his sadhak bhav might have ended, but certain sadhanas, if they remain, the Divine Mother will make those sadhanas happen. He may not do, but make those sadhanas happen in the simplest way, and the realization will take place. So we are coming now to the sadhana of religion founded by Lord Jesus. That means what we call Christianity. But a year after this, Islam sadhana and Shodashi Puja, the mind of the master again looked forward to the vision of the Divine Mother through another path. He had by that time become acquainted with Shambhu Chandra Mallik, who read the Bible to him. So, Shravan ended in Anubhav. Thus he came to know of the pure life of Jesus and of the faith he founded. Scarcely had that desire arisen in his mind when the Divine Mother fulfilled it in a marvelous way and blessed him. So the desire arose and it was fulfilled. He did not have to do much sadhana for it. The event happened thus. The garden house of Yadunath Mallik, remember these are two separate names, Shambhu Mallik and Yadunath Mallik. Shambhu Mallik read the Bible to him and a desire arose to realize his Divine Mother through that path shown by Jesus. Then another devotee, Yadunath Mallik, the garden house of Yadunath Mallik is situated to the south of the Kali temple at Dakshineshwar, almost adjoining. If we go to Dakshineshwar through the steamer, And from that point where the steamer stops there, if you go towards the Kali temple, you will meet this Yadunath Mallik's garden house, just attached. The garden house of Yadunath Malik is situated to the south of the Kali temple at Dakshineshwar. The master used to go there now and then for a walk. Yadunath and his mother had great devotion to the master. From the time they had first seen him, his mother had the attitude that Thakur is her child. Therefore, even if they were not present in the garden at the time of the master's walk there, the officers would open the door of the parlor and ask him to sit and rest there for some time. There were some good pictures hanging on the walls of that room. One of those pictures was that of the child Jesus in his mother's lap. Madonna and the child, it is called. The master used to say that he sat one day in that parlor and was looking intently at that picture and thinking of the extraordinary life of Jesus. This is sadhana, if you like. Shravan Manan. Looking intensely is Nididhasan. When he felt that, the picture came to life, and effulgent rays of light coming out from the bodies of the mother and the child. That was his speciality. Enter into his heart and change radically all the ideas of his mind, just like during Islam. On finding that all the inborn Hindu impressions disappear into a secluded corner of his mind. So they disappeared into a secluded corner of his mind. They did not vanish. They will come back whenever needed. But when a particular sadhana is done, other things do not interfere. That was the very nature of his mind. And that different ones arose in it. There is space for all the ideas in his mind because he is universal mind. He tried in various ways to control himself and prayed earnestly to the Divine Mother. What strange changes art thou bringing about in me, Mother? Because he was not attempting to that sadhana, but nothing availed. Rising with a great force, the waves of those impressions completely submerged the Hindu ideas in his mind. His love and devotion to the Devas and Devis vanished, and in their stead, a great faith in and reverence for Jesus and his religion occupied his mind and began to show him Christian padris offering incense and light before the image of Jesus in the church. So vision came, different vision. There only Christ's photo was there. But church, the padris, they waving incense before Christ, light, like our temples. And to reveal to him the eagerness of their hearts, the padris' hearts, as is seen in their earnest prayers. So the truest part of Christianity came to him. The master came back to Dakshineshwar temple and remained constantly absorbed in the meditation of those inner happenings. So Shravan Manan Nididhasan, because it has been forced on him. He forgot altogether to go to the temple of the Divine Mother and pay obeisance to her. The waves of those ideas had mastery over his mind in that manner for 3 days, as was his habit, everything over in 3 days. The meditation continued for 3 days, it culminated. At last, when the third day was about to close, the master saw, while walking under the Panchavati. So different places, but the mind is filled with that. That a marvelous God-man, not this miracle power people, God as man, of very fair complexion was coming towards him, looking steadfastly at him. As soon as the master saw that person, he knew that he was a foreigner. He saw that his long eyes had produced a wonderful beauty in his face, and the tip of his nose, though a little flat, did not at all impair that beauty. It was not pointed straight, a flat, but beautiful. The master was charmed to see the extraordinary divine expression of that handsome face and wondered who he was. Very soon the person approached him, and from the bottom of the master's pure heart came out with a ringing sound the word Jesus. So who was he? Was also answered from within. Jesus the Christ, the great yogi, the loving Son of God, one with the Father. So, Son of God, but one with the Father, just like Thakur, who gave his heart's blood and put up with endless torture in order to deliver men from sorrow and misery. He was crucified, and that was for humanity's sake. He has sacrificed himself. Jesus, the God-man, then embraced the Master and disappeared into his body, and the Master entered into ecstasy, lost normal consciousness, and remained identified for some time with the omnipresent Brahman. So, Christ avatar, then Sagun Brahma, then Nirgun Brahma. That was same with Thakur in every path. And so we know what are the stages going to the absolute reality. With the omnipresent Brahman with attributes, omnipresent Sarvayapi, having attained the vision of Jesus, thus the master became free from the slightest doubt about Christ having been an incarnation of God. Through that, Nirvikalpa also, Virat Bhav. We have to assume that after that he went into Nirvikal Samadhi. How the master's vision of the form of Jesus was proved to be true to fact. That means that tip was little flat, and it described it to his disciples, and they found out. When we were visiting the master long after this event, so that vision impression is so clear that after many years he is describing that. It is not that something came and vanished. No, it has that impression. One day he raised the topic of Jesus and said, "Well, boys, you have read the Bible. Can you tell me what is written in it about the physical features of Jesus? How did he look?" We said, "Sir, we have not seen this mentioned anywhere in the Bible." That is the fun. But as he was born a Jew, he must have been very fair in complexion, with long eyes and an aquiline nose to be true. Aquiline Garuda Pakshi like. That is the Aryan symbol. When told so, the master said, "But I saw that the tip of his nose was a little flat. I don't know why I saw him like that." Because if they are telling like that, I saw like that. Why? I do not know. Though we did not then say anything about what the master said, we thought, how could the form seen by him in ecstasy tally with the actual form of Jesus? It is a mental world. Like all the Jews, he too must have had an aquiline nose. But we came to know shortly after the master passed away that there were three different descriptions of Jesus' physical feature, though not in the Bible, elsewhere. And according to one of them, the tip of his nose was a little flat. So, what happens is about Christ that after 500 years, people started writing about him. And so the variations are there. But there is a description showing the flat nose, and Master had seen him directly. So even the Christians should remember this. Now, what about other sampradayas? Our mind is not yet satisfied. If Thakur has shown all the sadhanas, what about Buddhism? Why he did not practice that? What is his opinion about Buddha? So that question is coming to our mind, and Saradananda Swamiji gives reply. What the master said about Buddha being an incarnation of God and about his faith. Buddha and his faith. Knowing the master to have been perfected according to all the main religions prevalent in the world, the reader may wonder within himself, though he may not ask, what is his idea about Buddha was? It is therefore but fair that we record here what is known to us about it. The master regarded Buddha as what the Hindus in general believe him to be, that is, he is always offered his loving worship and reverence to Buddha as an incarnation of God, and believed that the incarnation of Buddha continued even then to be manifest in the image at Puri. Oh, this is Thakur's finding, huh? That is, Buddha was an incarnation. Now, where has these ideas gone? The Jagannath temple in Puri, though apparently Vaishnava temple, but there is some very special feature there. That caste has no consideration in Puri. That is the main thing. Where from it came? This is the idea of Buddhism, not Hinduism. So, the Buddha influence is Thakur found in Puri. Continued. Even then, what continued? Buddha Avatarar Prakash. Okay. So, this is about Sri Ramakrishna. Huh? He means Sri Ramakrishna. Huh? Always offered his loving worship and reverence to Buddha as an incarnation of God, and believed that the influence, you may say, of that incarnation continued even then to be manifest in the image at Puri. Puri image is another funny thing. Krishna is not with Rukmini, Krishna is not with Radha, Krishna is with Balaram and Subhadra, his sister and brother. So it is called Triratna. In the image at Puri of the three gems. So I will add one word here only, that the influence of the incarnation of Buddha continued. Influence of the incarnation of Buddha continued even then to be manifest in the image at Puri of the three gems in the form of Jagannath. Jagannath, Lord of the world, that is Krishna, Subhadra, and Balaram. When he heard that the glory of the above mentioned holy place was that, by the grace of Jagannath, it obliterated all feelings of difference and thereby all distinctions due to caste. He felt an intense desire to visit it, but he gave up that idea. This is describing Gurva Uttaralda. He did not go to Gaya and he did not go to Puri. Gaya because he was born from there, and Puri because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ended his life there. When he came to know that he would not survive the visit and understood with the help of yogic powers that the will of the Divine Mother in that respect was against his going, he has yet to continue as an incarnation. We have already spoken of the Master's unalterable faith in the purifying power of the waters of the Ganga. So we have talked about how he took Ganga to be Brahmavari. Now, in the same manner, which he looked upon as being Brahman itself in the liquid form, he had an equally firm faith that the mind of a man attached to worldly objects becomes immediately pure and gets fit to grasp spiritual ideas when he takes food offered to Jagannath. So Jagannath Prasad, if you take, the mind becomes free from worldliness and becomes fit for spirituality. When compelled to be in the company of worldly people for some time, he took immediately afterwards a little water of the Ganga and the Atke Mahaprasad. Atke Mahaprasad is cooked rice dried. The cooked rice offered to Jagannath and asked his disciples also to do the same. If you are engaged in some worldly activity, take a little Ganges water and take a little Atke Prasad. Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Shankaracharya also says. Besides what has been said above about the Master's faith in Buddha as an incarnation of God, we came to know of another fact about this matter. What was that? When the great poet Girish Chandra Ghosh, the highly devout follower of the Master, published his drama Buddha Charita, depicting the divine play of Buddha, the Master witnessed it staged and said, "It is certain that Buddha was an incarnation of God. There is no difference between the faith founded by him and the Vedic path of knowledge." So that is the explanation why he did not do sadhana according to Buddhism. Because his knowledge was that Buddhism sadhana is nothing but the knowledge aspects of Vedanta, the neti aspect of Vedanta. Our conviction is that the Master came to know this through yogic vision and so said this. So, inside vision is there, and that is why he said this. Vedic Gyan okay. And then some more religions. The Master's faith in the Jaina and Sikh religions. No, Jainas do not believe in God. Sikhs believe in the Guru Grantha. So what about them? The Master heard from the Jainas and the Sikhs in the latter part of his life many things about the Tirthankaras, the founders of the Jaina religion, and the 10 Gurus from Nanak to Govinda, the founders of the Sikh religion, and had much love and respect for them. Besides, the picture of deities besides the picture of deities in his room, beside the picture of deities, there was a stone image of Mahavira, the Tirthankara, that is the founder of Jainism, and a picture of Jesus on one side of his room. The Master offered every morning and evening burning incense before them both, as before all other pictures. But although he thus showed great love and reverence for them, we did not hear him describing any of the Tirthankaras or any of the 10 Gurus as an incarnation of God. So when he has so knowledge of everything, we have to take it. And the Jainas don't believe in God himself, so where from the incarnation comes? They take their Gurus as perfected people. Sikh people take 10 Gurus as incarnations of the King Janaka, not of God. So Thakur also has never said by his inner vision that they are incarnation. Otherwise, love and respect for them, for Sikh Gurus, for Jainas, he is doing. About the 10 Gurus, about Jainas, nothing more. About the 10 Gurus of the Sikhs, he used to say, they are all incarnations of the Rishi Janaka. This is known to all the old Sikhs. They themselves know that their Gurus were incarnations of Lord Janaka. Most of the Sikhs take themselves to be descendants of Rama. I found this by mixing with old Sikhs when I was in Chandigarh. I remember I visited Bhatinda, and there I heard from Sikh that we are such and such generation from Rama. And we know that it was King Janaka, Rajarshi, who was born as our 10 Gurus. He used to say they are all incarnations of the Rishi Janaka. The royal Rishi Janaka, I have been told by the Sikh. So Thakur has also heard this from the Sikhs themselves. Had a desire in his mind on the eve of his liberation to do good to the people. He therefore was born 10 times as a Guru from Nanak to Govinda, and having established religion among the Sikhs, became eternally united with the Supreme Brahman. So after these 10 incarnations, he melted into Brahman. So that's why they believe no fresh Guru. There is no reason why the saying of the Sikh should not be true. That means his experience also tallied with that. So we have discussed all faiths, all incarnations, all rishis and masters' views about them. That was the remaining part of his Sadhana. The restatement of the master's extraordinary experiences after he became perfected in the sadhanas according to all faiths. So having practiced and realized what he is telling now, not just by mouth, but after practice and realizing. When he became perfect according to all sadhanas, the master had a few unique experiences of the master had a few unique experiences. Of these experiences, some were concerning himself and some were about spiritual matters in general. So, after all these experiences, he knows what he is and he knows what others are. Although we have already told the reader some of them, we shall mention here the principal ones. Now one person left in this list because he is neither incarnation nor that. Thakur has expressed his opinion about Dayananda, the founder of Arya Samaj. You have read it in the different sadhu sampradayas in Guru Bhav. That Thakur said he wanted to establish something, he had mastery over grammar, and he could distort the meaning of the Vedas and bring out all these things. So clear opinion. Although while dwelling constantly in the mother in Bhavamukha, at the end of the period of his sadhanas, so after sadhanas, what he is doing? He is continuously staying in Bhavamukha. Staying constantly in mother in Bhavamukha. He seemed to have understood perfectly the meaning of those experiences. So experiences and that meaning. And that meaning he understood when he was dwelling in Bhavamukha, in the universal mind. So there the meanings are there. Although the master had them with the help of his yogic vision, We shall here give a rational explanation of them. So he had his transcendental vision. But through reason also we can understand. And so we are giving explanation through reason can explain, reason cannot give you the experience. Experiences about himself. Now, very important facts which Thakur realized and understood. First, he is an incarnation of God. So, after Nirvikal Samadhi, after dwelling in Bhavamukh, it was very clear to him that he is not an ordinary man. Firstly, the master had the conviction that he was an incarnation of God, an Adhikarika Purusha. That means born with the authority to do some work. All of his spiritual efforts were for the sake of others. So why did sadhana? For others. Comparing the sadhaka life of others with his, he could see a great difference between them with the help of his reason. Comparison is by reason. He saw that an ordinary aspirant practiced one spiritual mood all his life, and that when he realized the vision of God according to that mood, he had complete satisfaction in his mind. But his own case was not like that. He required a very short time for being successful in the discipline according to each mood and could have no satisfaction in his mind till he practiced disciplines according to all moods and faiths. So that itself is very different. The idea to practice other faiths is different. An effect can never be produced but by a cause. So what is the cause? A search on his part for the cause of the above mentioned fact led him to profound meditation and showed him the reason given above. So reason comes in a higher plane. So profound meditation and he found the reason. It showed him that his condition was unique because he was an especial incarnation of God, the Almighty, who is ever free, ever pure, and ever awakened. That is the Lord. It made him realize further that all his extraordinary spiritual practices had brought a new light from the spiritual world and that they had all been practiced for the good of others and not for the satisfaction of his own personal want. So that's clear. Second point. First, he is an incarnation. Second, there is no liberation for him. He had like ours. Because he has been described as ever free. But liberation means he will have to come again and again. Again and again incarnations will have to come and set right the wrongs of this world. That he found during his profound meditation after Nirvikal Samadhi. He was convinced that unlike the Jivas, he would not attain liberation like Jivas. It does not take one long to understand this, even with the help of ordinary reasoning. How can there be any talk of liberation for one who is eternally non-separate from God? Being an especial part of Him, who is always free, pure and awakened, and who has no want or limitation at all. As long as God's work of doing good to Jivas continues, He will have to incarnate Himself from age to age because the mind changes, so God comes in a different way, that is age, and do that work. So how can he have liberation? The master used to say, an administrator has to run to wherever there is any disorder in the estate. So there is a estate owner, there is a manager, and the manager goes about. This was not the only thing about himself that the master knew with the help of yogic vision, pointing to the now one more fact in this, that he will have to come again. A few days back somebody raised that topic. See, it is clearly mentioned here. Pointing to the northwestern direction, he told us over and over again. So no doubt that he would have to come to that region on the next occasion. Now, where is that region? We have already seen that northwest, not from the global point of view, not even from the full India point of view, northwest compared to Bengal. Pointing to the northwestern direction, he told us over and over again that he would have to come to that region on the next occasion. Some assert, so he will have to come, that he has told everybody. But he will have to come after such and such a time. That was the question. That some of them knew that. The great poet Girish Chandra Ghosh and others. Some assert that he gave them the time of his next advent and said, I shall have to come to that side in 200 years. Now 200 years from his birth, if we take, then 1 point. 200 years from the time he spoke this, then it would become different. But he has categorically said 200 years. Many will be liberated then. So in this life, in this incarnation mode, he is preparing many people, like sowing the seeds. And when the crop is ready, he comes and cuts them. So next time when he comes, many people will attain liberation. Those who do not get liberation at that time will have to wait very long for it thereafter. So what does this mean? It means that there will be pralaya after that. Otherwise, there is no other explanation. And when this Srishti will come again, then the next incarnation will come. So this may be the last incarnation in this cycle. That seems to be the real meaning. But he has said this. Third point. And he knew when he would pass away. That is in this life. In this life, when he will give up the body, that he knew well. The master came to know in Bhav Samadhi the time of his passing away long before it happened. While under spiritual inspiration, one day at Dakshineshwar, he said to the Holy Mother, when you will see, that is not at such and such a day, when you will see me taking food out of the hands of anyone and everyone, 1 point, passing nights in Calcutta and taking the food, a part of which has already taken by someone else, that he never did, because he is God. But he will do at some time, then know that the time of my passing away is near at hand. The aforesaid words of the master proved to be literally true. So he came to stay in Calcutta, taking food from the hands of anyone and everyone, and taking food somebody has already taken. He himself fed Narendranath one day. On another occasion there, while in a spiritual mood there, that means in Dakshineshwar, while in a spiritual mood, the master said to the Holy Mother, I shall not take anything except porridge during my last days. Where elsewhere said how this came true. Same in the Guru Bhav. So these were the indications he was giving, and he gives up his body by his own will when he knows that the work he was to do in this body is over. We shall now record the second kind of his experiences, namely those regarding spiritual matters in general. First, all religions are true. As many faiths, so many paths. true in this sense. Huh? Lot of time is there, but as we will not be able to complete this chapter now, we shall stop here because a different set of truths are coming out from his mouth, who have known about himself. Now, two things we have read up till now. His sadhana of Christianity, Buddhism not necessary, Jain and Sikhs, he revered them but not as incarnations. And then his dwelling in that Bhavamukh for a long time and knowing several truths. And they are about himself and about the spiritual matters in general. And about himself, his incarnation, he has no liberation. These were the two. And he knew when he would pass away. So now, about the spiritual matters in general, we shall take it on Monday. Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastam Sarvadharma Swarupaka Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.